Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Idris. Bye.
Wa alaikum salam, mighty sister. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Ready to learn some more about the numbers.
Excellent. We're going to get it in a minute. Inshallah.
Salam alaikum. How are you?
I am awesome. How are you?
All is well, alhamdulillah.
We back for another round.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Every round goes higher and higher.
Give thanks.
Give thanks. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We're gonna go ahead and get started so that we can get into tonight's wisdom. And as usual, we're gonna start with the 4 kuls. We're gonna do 4 al-Fatiha, 4 Surat al-Ikhlas, 4 Surat al-Falaq, and 4 Surat al-Nas. Insha'Allah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi wa huwa al-aliyyul azim. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu birabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab wa min sharri nafathati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu birabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab wa min sharri nafathati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu birabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab wa min sharri nafathati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu birabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab wa min sharri nafathati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A'udhu birabbil nas, maliki nas, ilahi nas, min sharri waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min al-jinnati wan nas. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu birabbil nas, maliki nas, ilahi nas, min sharri waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min al-jinnati wan nas. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu birabbil nas, maliki nas, ilahi nas, min sharri waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min al-jinnati wan nas. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kul a'udhu birabbil nas, maliki nas, ilahi nas, min sharri waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min al-jinnati wan nas. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima ublika wa khatimi lima sabaka nasir al-haqi bil-haq wa hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wa miqdarihi alladhi. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. O Allah, send your barakas upon this Darrah, upon everyone who is present tonight, those that are on the way and those with a heart to be present. Send your barakas upon our Cheikh Sufi Ba as he travels in the land of the Alps and thereabouts and moving about and sending knowledge back for us to partake in as well. Send your barakas on all of our families, all of those that are connected with us. Send barakas on the great tradition and lineage, spiritual heritage that we have as a people as we walk this path, as we walk this spiritual path, as we continue to trot through this path of Tasawwuf. Be with us, lead us, guide us, and assist us as we move forward. Open our minds, our hearts, and our ears to receive what is being transmitted this evening, that we may utilize it for the betterment of self and kind and all that we are connected to. Bake Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, Bake Sheikh Ibrahim, Bake Serene Follow, Bake Serene Sally Hu, Bake Sheikh Sufi Ba, Bake Sheikh Sufi Ba, Bake Sheikh Sufi Ba. Ameen, 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 Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, family of light. How are we feeling tonight? Is everybody still lit
like
from the
Allah
retreat?
should.
Ameen.
Alhamdulillah, Sheikh. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Good to hear you. We got the owner in the house. Ameen. Good to have y'all present. As we can. Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam. Ameen, ameen. We are back. And by popular demand tonight, we are dealing with a topic that many people have asked about, which is double numbers, angel numbers, and master numbers. I forgot to share this. Let's see, bam. So that's what we're going to be delving into tonight. Does anybody have any questions, burning concerns from previous classes, something that we experienced during the week, or anything? If not, it is double number time. So what does double numbers mean? We're talking about living divine between the 1 and the 9, and as we know, the number system goes from 1 to 9, coming out to 0. And then after we get to 9, we began to utilize the same symbols in different combinations. Like 10 is the 1 and the 0, and 11 is the 1 and the 1, et cetera, et cetera. Those are called double numbers. The distinction in double numbers is master numbers. So a master number is a double number, but it has a special category when there's a doubling of a number. For example, 1111. Correction, the number 11, the number 33, the number 22, etc. So starting out tonight, we're going to look at double numbers. And so I'm going to start with a question. Is anybody here on the call tonight whose birthday, the day that you were born, is a double number? Which means it's not 1 through 9, but it's 10 through 30 or 31. I know somebody got to be standing on the doubles. What? We have all these single digit number people tonight? I know better than that.
Yes, Sheikh. I'm 06, 08.
Okay, single number.
I don't want you to think I'm holding back on you. I'm 06, 08.
I got you, Sheikh. You dealing with that 8 energy. I mean, well, if nobody's got a double number, we just gonna go ahead and go to it. The first
Salam,
double
Cheikh. I'm
number.
on the 29th, November 29th.
Whoa, we got a 29th in the house. Okay. Let me shift some things here because we got to scroll down for that one. That 2 and that 9. Okay. Now, interesting. The 29 is a more serious representation of the number 11. Because when you reduce the 2 and the 9, you add the 2 together, it becomes a number 11, which is a master number. But on the 29 vibration, it's a little bit more serious than the number 11, and it's less sociable than the number 11. So the 2 and the 9 is dealing more on an internal level as opposed to intellectual, inspirational output with other people. Does that seem like how you're vibing?
You
Well,
said more on the introvert. You said introvert, not to cut your wisdom. You said the introvert, more on the introvert side than the extrovert.
Yes. That's what it means by less social and more serious.
It depends on the setting or the environment, like, or how I'm feeling. I consider myself an omnivore, if you will, like both, depending on how I'm feeling.
Omniverse. What's your birthday?
November 29th, 2000.
Okay, so that's the Sagittarius. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You're leaning more to the Sagittarius, more of the thinking, oftentimes have an answer to every question. Sagittarius are very, very knowledgeable. Yeah, I can see that. But I can also see the less sociable side as well. I can see that too. And being more serious. Serious come from the perspective of being more serious about knowledge. And if you're a teacher, you're more serious about the subject matters that you're putting forth.
Now, Sheikh Idris, my son, he's 12 years old. His birthday is January 29th, 2011. He was born in 2011.
Another 29.
Which is 11.
Uh-huh.
And January, which is a 1.
Wow.
And he is antisocial because I was asking him today, did he want to go to this baseball event or little event today? He's like, no, he just like sit up in his room and play on his computers. You know, like to go out and do anything.
Yeah, that's very much the energy. He's also Aquarius, right?
Yes.
Yes. Believe it or not, he's a person that's actually made for this time cycle that we're in right now. Because we're going to be in this Aquarian age for about 2,000 years moving forward. So he's actually made for this time cycle that we're in. So he's experiencing a lot of that inwardness now, but he's going to find his crowd and he's going to find his niche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Salam alaikum. I was going to say the same thing, but well, my son, he's a Gemini. His is 529, and I find he's 20 years old, but I find he can be very intense.
Okay, what's this with all of y'all putting forth these master numbers? Y'all making masters, around masters? What's going on with all that? How y'all doing that?
That's I guess. I prayed. I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
Wow, 29 is the theme tonight. Okay. So you're saying that sounds more like him from a Gemini perspective.
Yes, sir. He's highly intelligent and he's intense. And he's introverted. He's actually, I talk to him and I can talk to him on an intellectual level to an extent he understands it.
Well, he's dealing with a lot of energy because he's dealing with a lot of 11 energy. He's born on the 29th, which reduces to an 11. His sign is Gemini, which is twins, 1 and 1. And the symbol for Gemini is a 1 and a 1, which is an 11. So he's dealing with a lot of that as well. The other thing about him is sometimes if you catch him on the right day, you'll get a different version of him. Geminis have that ability as well, where they can literally sometimes be two different people. One day you're talking to them and they're one way, another day you catch up with them and it's like somebody different. So I see that a lot with Geminis. It's less to the extent with the person that's on the 29 vibration because they're more serious, more focused, and oftentimes a lot more inward, especially early on. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. That makes sense. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I mean, well, I don't have to read any more double numbers. Everybody working with that 2 and that 9, that 29. We good on that. But I'll briefly go over some of the other numbers if you know somebody who is born on some of these dates, then it might ring a bell. So a person that's born on the 10th, they have the enhanced qualities of the number 1. The 1 with the 0 behind it, actually giving it a little bit more standing and substance is what the 10 represents. Generally, they are a very powerful leader, and 10s are often very good in business. They're also very dominant beings as well. And like with many numbers, it represents a number of completion because it's 1 and 0, which is basically the 2 numbers that could be utilized to get to all the other numbers as we talked about before. So it's a very, very dominant personality and complete personality is the number 10. The 12 energy is one that's creative, also individualistic, represents self versus the group. And that's because you're dealing with the 1 going into the 2 or being backed up by the 2. So anytime you're starting with the 1, generally that's the place to focus starting out. Then we got the number 13. And of course, we talked about the number 13 before. And this being a very difficult vibration for some, it's a very grounded vibration. And sometimes 13s lack a sense of humor. What I did not talk about yet, and I may go over some of this on next week, is karmic numbers and karmic debt. There are 4 karmic numbers, the 13, the 14, the 16, and the 19. And we're going to get more into that when we start looking at your name and looking at your life path, which we start doing on next week. But where that gets to be important is because, again, we're talking about mastering these particular numbers in this system. So case in point, let's say you look at your entire name that's on your birth certificate. Each of those letters have a number that it represents. Now, when you look at all of those numbers, what you may find is that some of those numbers are missing. Like say, for example, you may have a bunch of 1s in your name, or you may have a bunch of 2s, but you basically have every number except the number 4. So if you don't have the number 4, that means the number 4 is a place of mastery for you. That's something that you're going to have to overcome. That's a debt that you're going to have to satisfy this lifetime. This is where the mastery comes in. Once we get into that, and it works the same when we're talking about your life path number, as well as, you know, your personal year number and all of those things. But that's what the karmic debt speaks to. The number 14 is, they said it's a person that has a wild streak, need for change and adventure. Of course, the number 14 adds up to the number 5. So generally, people who have a number 5 life path or date that they were born, they sometimes have this karmic debt of the number 14, which is a challenge. I don't like to say a difficulty, it's a challenge that we have to grow to overcome. I say that because I have a 5 life path. So I deal with some of that as well. The number 15 is a number that sends the vibration for a person that is very loving and forgiving. Why is that? Because the 1 and the 5 gives you the 6. And so the 15 very much brings forth that energy of the 6 coming through the 1 and the 5. Then we have the number 16, which is another karmic debt number. And of course, the 1 and the 6 equal to 7. And we talked about this, was it last week? Yeah, last week, of how important that 7 is. And with that, it deals with a lot of introspection and internal work. But there's a caution for a person not to be self-destructive. Because sometimes when we're taking a look at the quote unquote dark side or the difficult parts of ourselves, we have a tendency to get negative and to be negative, which sends us into a depression and sometimes can cause us to go too far into that depression where self-destruction or self-sabotage, that's a better word, begins to take place. So we don't want to go into any of those places. We want to deal with our internal stuff in a way where it's productive and not destructive. The 17 is a good number for spiritual growth, but it's also good for business because the 1 to 7 equals an 8, which also represents infinity. It talks about this could be a person that experiences bankruptcy. One of the reasons for that is because when you have a 17 vibration or an 8 vibration, that's the person that's going to go for it. They're going to go for what they want in business and in life. And sometimes they may reach a situation where they push everything to the limit, but they are grounded because they have a strong inner core and a strong moral core, which keeps them constructively positive despite the things that they're going through. 18, of course, is the 1 and the 8, which equals a 9, which is good for business on an international level. And this is because 1 and the 8 equals a 9, but it's the combination of the 1 and the 8. And that gives you more reach with respect to your business, your idealism, and that type of thing. Sometimes they experience a lack of conscious spiritual effort. So putting forth effort is something that is necessary for a person that's born on an 18, have an 18th birthday, or maybe their life path adds up to an 18, which becomes a 9. That's something that they want to be cautious of. Then there's the number 19. Now, the 19 is considered a karmic debt number, and one of the most well-known karmic debt numbers. In this particular system, it speaks to a person that's strong, individualistic, self-reliant, etc. sometimes alienate themselves, which you'll see a lot with karmic debt numbers, because one of the tendencies that we have is when we're dealing with something, we want to deal with it ourselves as opposed to sharing a lot of those things with other people. We want to try and find a way to deal with it so that when we present ourselves to other people, we put forth a certain type of face. So you'll see the loneliness and the separating themselves from people a lot with karmic debt numbers. The other thing I got to mention with respect to the 19, very, very, very sacred number coming out of Egypt, the 1 and the 9, because the 1 and the 9 is the completion of all of the numbers. We're living divine between the 1 and the 9, and the 1 and the 9 is the completion of that journey. Now, we know when we're taking any type of journey, there's going to be challenges and things that we have to overcome. That's what this karmic debt speaks to with the number 19, because it is inclusive of all of the things that we have to overcome in the journey towards our destination. The 20 is a number that speaks to a person that's sensitive, intuitive, and that's because essentially the 20 is the number 2 with a 0 behind it. Sometimes this person is not very confrontational with respect to challenges. 2s are peacemakers. 2s are very, very loving and harmonious. So when it comes to challenges, they shy away from challenges. And sometimes people look at that as a weakness, but there's a strength in that as well. It's not about being, a coward or being a punk or anything like that. It's about understanding what your nature is and how best to move in that with respect to the challenges that come at you, depending upon which challenges they are. The 21, of course, is very similar to the 12. The 1 and the 2 is just in reverse. But this time with the 2 being in front, that lends to a more intuitive personality. The number 23 is a number that represents freedom, promoting a cause. 23 is a strong energy because it equals a 5, but it's like the marriage of the number 2, which is a feminine number, and the number 3, which is more of a masculine number, and it brings them together harmoniously. Sometimes that could be very unrealistic in terms of setting expectations, but nevertheless, that's what the 23 represents. 24, of course, is good for someone who likes to counsel and comfort people. 24s are very much about being comforted. They like the delights of life. And they like the plushness of life. The best food, the best music, the best social gatherings. You'll see most times that's a 24 or a 6. 25, of course, 2 and 5 equal a 7. That deals with spiritual leadership. 26 is excellent for business and business management. The 27, which is actually 2 moon numbers, the 2 and the 7 are both moon numbers. And what that produces is a person that's a counselor, volunteer, an artist, someone that's very successful in that number 9 energy. I'm running through a lot of these, but I'm gonna take a break. Does anybody have any questions or comments about any of those or any of those numbers that you may know someone who has those numbers and some of that might ring a bell?
Astaghfirullah, Cheikh. Could you do 22 again, please?
I didn't get to 22 yet.
Oh, you skipped it. Okay, I thought I missed it.
I skipped all the master numbers. We're gonna hit
Okay.
them on
Gotcha.
the next slide.
Okay, we're good. Okay, thank you. Give thanks.
I think it's the next slide. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Actually, I was supposed to do them first. We good. We good. Anybody else got a question or comment? Okay, the 28 is dealing more with that 10 energy. But with the 28, it's more from a compassionate perspective. And of course, we dealt in depth with the 29 since everybody dealing with that energy. The 30 is essentially the 3 energy, which means communication and creativity is a key for number 30. And then there's the 31, who is very extroverted, fun-loving, more than the number 4. The number 4 tends to be a bit more grounded, a bit more structured, conservative, even though the 3 and the 1 equal to 4, with the 3 being the first number, that opens up the vibration for more fun-loving, extrovert activity, creativity, and all of those things. So I'm gonna leave it there for my double numbers. All the rest of these come after what your birthday will be, because there is no 32 days in a month. But it's good to have these numbers to understand when we see them, what they may represent. Any final questions about those? If not, now we're gonna deal with the master numbers. Starting with the number 11. And who wants to read this slide for the number 11?
Bismillah, Sheikh. I'll read it.
Alhamdulillah.
Master number 11, known as the master intuitive, is all about instinct, sensitivity, and the subconscious. Those with master number 11 possess the energy of spiritual enlightenment. These individuals are visionaries, crave emotional balance, and strive to always follow their intuition, the inspired healer.
Thank you for that. I mean. Number 11, we've been dealing with quite a bit. And when we're talking about mastery, the road to mastery begins and sometimes ends with the number 11. And I've said this numerous times before. The reason for that is because the number 11 is the first master number, and what many would argue is the only master number, because any other master number that you get, you got to go through 11. 22 is 11 plus 11. 33 is 11 plus 11 plus 11. So 11 is the core of any master number. Understanding this vibration of mastery unlocks the others as you go along the path. But this is speaking to one vibration in particular that a lot of people don't talk about with their number 11, is the inspired healer. Inspiration, we all know, is very much tied to the number 11, but healing also, because with the right inspiration, with the right mental mindset, helping to establish the right mindset, you can actually heal yourself. Inspiration heals. Music can be very inspirational and healing and therapeutic, which is why there's been such a influx of negative music and the idea of taking over the music industry, so that the music that we listen to does not produce that same healing effect. And one of the things that we can look at with respect to that is we can look at some of the music from the 60s. Some of it, of course, was speaking more to the plight that we were living in, and in the 70s. But if you listen to it, it was talking about love stories. It was rapping, but it was rapping over music. Brothers was talking, giving these long speeches in the middle of a song, confessing their love and their feelings for someone that was near and dear to them. This was the type of music that we were vibrating to during that time, before we got to the Don't Stop, Get It, and all of that. You know, every type of music has its place. But at one time, the vibration of the music was very healing, very loving, very much a vibration that helped us to maintain a certain state and vibration. So that provided for us a situation where we could be healed and heal one another. So when we talk about the inspired healer from the number 11 vibration, that's more what it's speaking to. Anybody have any comments on that? Or questions?
Yes, Salaam alaikum, Sheikh. I have a
Walaikum salam.
question. Now, when we speak of these numbers, or any number for that fact, can you take into consideration your birth month rather than the day? I know the day would equate to like your personal number, but for example, I'm born in November, which is the 11th month. Is that significant, and does that tie into what we're talking about? Although it's my birth month?
Absolutely it does.
Okay.
Yes. The 11th month does have a vibration over you, just as the day that you're born has a vibration, the month that you're born has a vibration, and the year that you're born has a certain energetic vibration over your makeup as well.
Okay.
All of those are important.
Shukran.
Afran. And those are energies that are very, very close to you. Now, as we go forward, you're going to find that there's even more numbers that have a numeric effect on you and your energy. For example, what's your house number? What block do you live on? That has numbers. What's your phone number? What do those numbers add up to? All of these things that we don't necessarily think of, but are utilized all the time when somebody's trying to reach out to you, they're utilizing those numbers. When they're coming to your house, they're utilizing those numbers. So it's a huge web that we live in of numbers, which is why we continue to say this is an actual live, pure science, as opposed to quackery. People call it quackery who don't really understand what it is, but it literally affects everything around us.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So absolutely your month has a very strong impact. Now, I'll say this also about your month. You have two influences coming from your month of November. You have the influence of the 11, and you have the influence of the number 9. And I'm sure you can remember why that is.
Well, let me think now. The number 9. Well, we go from 1 to 9. And then there are 2 others that equate to 11. I don't know. Just guessing.
You're close. You're right on track.
I'm close?
In the
Okay.
calendar system, we used to have, well, they changed the months. They added in July and August,
Okay.
which threw the months off because, let's see, September used to be the 7th month. Now it's the 9th month. Well, yeah, now it's the 9th month. October used to be the 8th month because Op means 8.
Right.
And now it's the 10th month.
10th month.
Nofi means 9, and now it's the 11th month. So
Okay.
it still carries some of the vibration of the 9, but it's coded as an 11. It's just one of those things you want to be mindful of as well.
Okay, great. Alhamdulillah. Shukran.
Ameen, ameen. Anybody else have any questions or comments on that?
Salam, Cheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
So you know, I was saying I was born November 29th, right? So I know that's 2 11s. I was
That's an
born 2000.
11-11.
Yeah, and I was born
Yeah.
2000. So you add that, my life path would be 6, right?
Okay, what year was that again?
2000.
2000. Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's a disguised 11-11-11.
Um,
Yeah, your life path would be a 6.
what was that number entail of vibration wise?
Ooh. 6s are very giving. 6s are very humanitarian heart. You have a big heart, want to help people. 6s is also people that's always looking for a bargain. Let me say that. 6s are bargain hunters, man. They like the bargain. But in addition to that, very, very giving, loving heart, wants to help everyone, sacrifices themselves, got to be careful not to overly extend themselves so that they become a doormat. But 6 is probably the most giving of the numbers that we have in the 1 through 9. That sound like you?
Definitely, for sure. I have a hard time saying no at times, you know.
Well,
Thank you.
as you continue to master that vibration, you'll know when to say no and when it's okay to give. And always remember, whenever you give from your overflow, not from what makes you and helps you to maintain yourself as an individual to the extent that you're completely exhausted and giving out. So always give from your overflow. And in order to do that, you have to make sure that you're filling yourself up and your cup up so that you have an ample amount to give out.
Alhamdulillah. Keep going, sir. Thank you.
I mean, anybody else? Okay, we're gonna step up to the number 22. Who wants to read the master number 22?
I can read it, Sheikh.
Bismillah.
It says master number 22, known as the master builder, relates to balance, confidence, creativity, and bringing big ideas to life in the sense of productivity. Those with master number 22 are able to make their dreams a reality by harnessing unlimited potential. These individuals are hardworking, practical, and have the confidence to bring their intentions to fruition.
Thank you. So is anybody on here dealing with that 22? '22s are known as master builders because 22s are the one who take the intellectual, imaginary, metaphysical, otherworldly ideas, concepts, and images and brings them into physical manifestation in this world. They literally build in this world, whether that be churches, whether that be building up the physical temple or the body. They bring into existence structures, things that the society needs, whether that be banks, grocery stores, physical, tangible things is what the number 22 brings into existence. Things that are productive, that are visible and verifiable. That's where the 22 makes its mark. Practical, hardworking, that's the 22 energy. The 2 and the 2, of course, gives you the 4, which is foundation, which is structure, which is the platform on which other things are built, upon which society stands. That's that 22 energy. And that's what these master builders actually bring into existence. And as we spoke about it in the past, who is or what is the master builder? Come on now, I know y'all remember that one. The master builder is the female, the woman. She who builds in 9 months without tools, building life, foundation and structure of civilization. The woman is the best representative of that number 22. Definitely something you want to keep in mind. Anybody have any questions about that one?
Sheikh, I don't really have a question so much as I guess more of a statement of how this resonates. Well, my life path is a number 4,
Mhm.
but I find myself resonating more with a 22, and I noticed that my birth year is 1984, which equates to a 22. I deal with organizations, and the goal is to build and expand so that we can have a legacy for others, to grow and expand on as well. So I was asking you, does the year, I don't know if this was actually asked or not, excuse me if it was, but does the year of that you were born actually, count? Because when we first were talking, I'm a 13. I'm a 13, which is a life path 4, but my year is a number 22, 1984.
Okay, I lost you for a minute there. You said, how did you get the 13?
If you add up, my birthday is 2/7, 1984. That's a 13.
2/7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. Now the year by itself is a 22.
Yes.
So you were born in a 22 year. 1 + 9, which is 10, + 8 is 18, + 4. That's a 22. So you were born in a 22, a master number 22 year.
Yes, sir.
And your birth date itself is a 9, of course. The birthday and the birth month equals a 9, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's how you get your 13. Yeah, it's a 4, but it's 2 ways to do it. When you're talking about adding master numbers, you don't really reduce a master number once it's a master number when you're adding. So if your year is a 22, and then the other numbers are a 9, that gives you a 31, which is a 4. You get there that way. But your mastery is solid in that year. That's a master number in year 22. No question about it. So you're vibing with that, and it does matter. The year matters, the month matters, and the day matters. All 3 matter. The year is a bit more general of the 3 because everybody in that year has that number. The month is only 12 of them, so they have that same vibration. The actual day that you were born is unique because that's a little bit more personal of the 3. The day that you were born is seen as the most personal number of the 3 because that's the physical day that you were born. But yes, that year is very important. All of these numbers are important. Your year number, your day number, your month number, and your personal year number, meaning what is the day that you were born, plus the month that you were born, plus the present year that you're in. That's important also. And we're going to get more into that next week when we start talking about the core numbers, the most important numbers that we have. Does that answer the question?
That is, Jeff. Thank you, Cheikh.
Thank you. Moving on to the master number 33. Who want to tackle that one? The 3 and the 3. Well, that master number 33 is known as the master teacher. Resonates with energies of compassion, courage, inspiration, and honesty, and is the most spiritually evolved master number. Those with master number 33 are kind-hearted, incredibly creative people who are focused on the greater good. But these individuals must be careful not to become critical and judgmental when thrown off balance. 33. The 33 number was always known, one, as the master teacher, but it's also been known as the sacrificial number, because that's the number where one sacrifices themselves for the greater good of everybody else. And we can get off into masonry and all of that, but they deal a lot with that 33rd degree and what that represents. But that's what it's speaking to, that idea of sacrifice. If you look at it from a Jesus perspective, it's that number 33 vibration in terms of the crucifixion. So this is the sacrifice age and the sacrifice time when we're looking at the number 33. But again, master teacher, very compassionate and courageous and inspirational, and they're the most evolved in this master number system process. There are other master numbers. I can tell you that it goes from the 33 to the 44 to the 55 to the 66 to the 77, 77 to 88, and the 99. All of those are master numbers. They're not talked about as much. They're not described as much, but they are master level influences as well. But we're going to keep it a little bit more basic, just dealing with the 11, 22, 33, and lastly, the 44, which is the last master number that we're going to cover, because this one I thought was interesting also. Anybody want to read this 44?
I'll go ahead and read. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, the 4x4 master number carries the significance of vibration 4 and 8 with amplification. So the 44, you add the fours together, you get the number 8. It is known as the master healer. So the master teacher would be the number 33. The master builder would be the number 22. The inspired healer would be the number 11, and also dealing with inspiration. The number 44 would be considered the master healer. And this is a number that's considered rare in numerology. Not only is it considered lucky in Chinese astrology, but also is a number associated with royalty and historical hierarchy and completion, that being the number 44. Now, when we was at the retreat, Sheikh Sufi was talking about how Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba would put the number 4 all over the room as a number of protection. Picture that. So the 4 would represent protection, also master level healing, which is what Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba embodied as well. And the number 8 is also good for authority and for business and all of those things as well. And it also speaks to hierarchy, which is lineage. All of that is in the number 44. So if you have an 8 in your life path number, or maybe your name number comes out to an 8, it is possible that you can have a number 44 vibration in that number 8. Does anyone have any question on those?
Salam, Cheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
So you said the number 11 is the inspired healer and number 44 is the master healer. So what's the difference? How do you differentiate between an inspired healer and a master healer?
Great question. The inspired healer heals more through inspiration. The inspired healer heals more, I guess the way to put it would be more energy work, more prayer work, that type of thing. The number 44 is more tangible, which means that type of healing would be more like, for example, a doctor or a nurse or someone that heals through those means. Even an herbalist that utilizes physical tools, whereas the number 11 deals more with the mind, healing more from a mind perspective than, hands-on. The number 11s would be more like your Reiki, more like energetic healing. 44s deal with that too, but they definitely stand more firmly in the more tangible, which would be like the medical field, hands-on surgery, that type of healing. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Salam. Thank you.
I mean, anybody else have a question about that? So when we finish this course, we're going to be able to at least have an understanding of the mastery of these numeric vibrations that all of us are moving through. I can't stress that enough. Each of us on a daily basis, we're moving through the energy of all of these numbers. We have some that are much more personal and close to us as an individual, but we're moving through all of these numbers. And so an understanding of all of these numbers are very, very important. So the last thing that we're going to cover today is angel numbers. And everybody has been asking, when are we going to talk about these master numbers? When are we going to talk about these angel numbers? I want to talk about the angel numbers. So we have reached the class where we're dealing with the angel numbers. And angel numbers are important because instead of dealing with the master numbers of 2 digits, the angel numbers deal more with the 3-digit numbers, and then also with some of the 4-digit numbers as well. And all of those have different meanings based on which number you're seeing. So is there anyone in class who is seeing a angel number more so than others?
I keep saying 11, 11, and 111.
11, 11, and 111.
Mm-hmm.
111 deals with intentions and manifestation. 111 is an ignition, a generating number, which means it's moving energy forward. So when you see the 111, make sure you're focusing on exactly what it is that you want as opposed to what you don't want. Because when you see that, that means that it's your creation time, your manifestation time, and whatever you're focusing on is what you're going to end up creating. So make sure that it's positive and it's constructive. So when you see that 111, that's the time to make sure you get control of your focus so that you can bring into existence those things that you most desire. and align with that. Now that 1111, when you see the 1111, that means that you're on the right path. The other thing that the 1111 means is that you're going step by step and continue to go step by step in the process that you're already engaged in until you reach your goal. When you see that 1111, that means that you're operating at a level where you are a master manifester. So you are in control and bringing into existence those things that you envision. That's the energy that's lined up with you when you see that number 1111. The key is to make sure that you utilize that properly by honing into that energy, seeing where you are, what place you are, what are you thinking about, what are you focusing on, much like the number one, because it's 11, 11, 11. The 1111 is just the number one more number one than the 111 system. So you want to make sure that your mindset is right, that you're mentally aligned, and as you manifest in a step-by-step process, you will begin to see and realize what it is that you've been focusing on. But you have to be aligned and you have to be willing to go through the process in order to realize it. That's what 1111 means. It also means that you have the support around you to actually make it happen. It's like a prompt or a sign letting you know that everything is in place for you to make this happen. So let's go.
I mean, shukran.
Afran. Anyone else seeing any other numbers more so than others?
Yes, Sheikh Salam. I see 555 quite often with the 111.
555 deals with change, as you well know. It can also deal with travel. It can also deal with transition. When you see 555, generally you're going through something. So are you in a place where you feel like you're going through some things?
Well, surely that has been my life. But I look at it, on a positive side because I am a traveler, world traveler as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my life path number is a 5. So,
okay.
So I always welcome it,
Mm-hmm.
I see it and I welcome it.
So if your life path number being a 5, when you see that 555 prompt, yeah, that means the changes are coming.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely means changes are coming.
Very
so
good.
like they tell me, that means don't get comfortable.
Oh, right. Okay.
Don't get
know.
comfortable.
Shukran.
Up front. Anyone else seeing triple numbers?
Shalom.
Wa alaikum salam.
222 and 444 all the time.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. Like literally an hour ago, I saw I was like, what time is it? I look at my phone, it's 222. I'm like, oh wow. What's that mean?
Well, let me ask you this. When's your birthday?
November 29th.
Oh, you're November 29th. Okay. What that tells me is you gotta stop worrying, just like it says. It's really a comfort. The 222 is a comfort prompt, letting you know that things are gonna work out, things are working out well. You got the assistance for whatever you're thinking about, worrying about, focusing on. Don't worry about it. It's all working out right according to plan. That's what the 22 or the 222 is talking about. Really is saying to trust the process, keep doing what you're doing. Don't go down that road of worrying or being concerned. about things not working out the way that you want them to work out, that's not what you want to be focusing your energy on. Stay calm and realize that it's working out exactly the way that it's supposed to. That's that 222 vibration.
Alhamdulillah, Allah's the best of planners.
Indeed. And that's not always easy, because sometimes it doesn't look like the way that it's supposed to look or the way that we want it to look. And so we can't necessarily go by what we're seeing. We have to go by what we're feeling and what we're knowing on the inside. And that's where that faith comes in. That's the true definition of faith, and knowing that things are going to work out just the way that it's supposed to. That's what the 222 is reminding you of. Now, when you're dealing with the 444, that there again is that vibration of structure and foundation and protection. So when you're seeing that, that means that you're surrounded by divine energy, and you're also being guided. But even more importantly than that, the foundation is being laid for you to move forward into the next phase of your life.
You know what?
Makes 100% of sense.
I mean, any other 3-digit numbers? 4-digit numbers? I tell you, a 4-digit number that I used to see quite a bit and still see from time to time is the number 1, 2, 3, 4. That sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a powerful, powerful prompt, because it's not on this board here. But what that's telling you is you have to go higher, but you have to move higher step by step. The 1111 is more moving forward on the line, on the path that you're already on. And of course, that deals with elevation also. When you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going upward in levels. So it's a prompt to make sure that you raise your thinking and raise your vibration upward, so that you're not stuck and stagnant in the place that you're in. That's what the 1, 2, 3, 4 represent. Spiraling upward. In case anybody was seeing that. But those are our angel numbers, master numbers, and double numbers that everybody was asking about. And hopefully you got a better understanding of what these look like and how we can better navigate this energy once it starts coming at us.
I have a question real quick, Idris. Cheikh Idris.
Yes.
So I had gotten a job, and the building, the location where my job is 111. So 111 7th Street. So is that anything that I should be paying attention to? That's the address of where I work, 11 7th Street.
You said 111?
Yes.
Wow. 7th Street. What city you in?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, St. Louis.
And it's a state building that I'm working. I work for the state, and it's a state building, and it's 111, and it's on 7th Street.
You know what's funny? Most times when you see these 111s and these 222s, they're generally state buildings, office buildings,
Okay.
county government buildings. They're utilizing that energy. So what that means for you is, well, let's talk about what it means for the company, because they're the ones that have that number on their building. they're utilizing that as a manifestation center to bring into existence what they want and to be successful in their manifestation. Now it's on 7th Street, which is a very spiritual number. So that tells me that this is somebody that's working with some craft or with an understanding of the science of numerology and how to use it to manifest.
Okay.
They are also very clear about who they draw to them and to their business and to their offices. So once you come into that environment, you become part of that work and that plan. But when you are a master and is mastering this energy of numerology, you can shape shift that energy to work in your best favor and work to your alignment so that you can be successful even in that environment. I'm glad that you bring that up because that's the work that we're supposed to be doing with this science of numbers and with our walk on this Sufi path as well. We're supposed to go into places, go into the dunya, go into environments that are not necessarily in our favor. And some of them, to be very honest, are definitely against us. But we're supposed to go into those environments and still, in spite of what their plan and their agenda is, still get what we need out of those environments, still transform that environment so that it works in our favor, so that we get benefit, and so that those around us get benefit. And even those that work there get benefit because we are there. And we are the ones that are setting the atmosphere as opposed to walking into an atmosphere or an environment that somebody else has set. So when other people have agendas and when they've set forth different plans, once we come into that with a knowledge of who we are and a knowledge of these sciences, we change and transform and transmute all of that so that it works for us and those around us. And whatever negativity that somebody may be planning or putting forth, that's not our issue. We don't even have to put a whole lot of thought to it because just what we represent and who we are and what we're standing on is talisman enough for us. That's the beauty of this walk that we're doing. So with respect to that 111 on 7th Street, for you, what that means is you can utilize this opportunity to initiate a whole new spiritual alignment and raise yourself to a whole new spiritual level, starting with where you are right now in that building and moving forward. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Good. I
I
mean,
mean, how long you been there?
since January 11th. I think I started.
You are strong on these 11s, boy. You are strong. That 1-1 energy and 1-1-1 energy runs deep with you. But that's a good thing. And has it been working well so far?
Yep, they ain't fired me yet.
Well, you already aligned and lined up, so you good. You good. You don't have to worry about any of that. Any other questions or comments? So next week, we gonna get busy. Next week, we gonna need pen and paper because we gonna be writing out our individual numbers based on our names, based on the date that we were born. We're going to be finding out about the numbers around us. We're going to be breaking all of that down next week so that we can utilize that and understand which numbers are most prevalent around us. Because a lot of times we're not even aware of that. And then based on the numbers that come up the most around us through our life path, the day that we're born, our personal year, our expression number, our house number, phone, whatever. Based on the number that keeps coming up the most, that's the number that we really want to deal with the most. And start there in terms of our mastery process. Because it's ongoing, but we start with the numbers that are closest to us and the ones that are calling us the most. That's where we start. So each one of you are going to be very, very filled and very, very skilled in this process of number science. And you're going to be able to utilize this to understand people around you and even to help people around you, because many of them haven't been exposed to a lot of this information. Any final thoughts, closing remarks, ideas, pressing concerns?
Cheikh, I got a question.
Yes.
You say 16 is a karmic number, but it's a 1 and 6 equal to 7.
Uh-huh.
Could you explain a little bit more on the 16? I got a grandson that's a 16 since the other
Well,
one
I'll
not
start
sure,
with
22. That's strong.
I'll start with the 7 first. Someone was it last week or maybe the week before was asking whether the intensity of the 7 is the same as a master number, even though 7 is not technically a master number. And my answer was yes, because 7 is a very, very intense number. It carries a lot of energy because it's dealing with internal work, which is uncovering a lot of those dark spaces that we don't like to deal with and confront. So there's a heaviness with that number 7. When we talk about the number 16 or the 1 and the 6 going into the 7 as a karmic debt number, that is the case because with the number 16, if we go back to that slide, there's a heaviness there when we talk about the 16. And that heaviness could be a situation where it causes you to get to a place where the looking into the mirror of the darkness actually begins to be self-destructive. And what I mean by that is a quote that's often said is, when you look into the darkness also looks into you. And it becomes aware of your looking in terms of a challenge. So when we talk about this number 16 and what that represents in terms of the word they use here is self-destruction, it's more of sometimes we allow ourselves to get too far into this negative vibration where we begin to undo some of the things around us that can actually be beneficial for us. And that kind of tears down some of the work that we've done on the positive level, and we don't see the best results as a result of that. So when we're talking about a person that's born on a 16 that may be dealing with a lot of this, and you can tell if they're dealing with this based on their mood, based on the way that they're moving around the house or moving around in society, the way that they're expressing themselves or choosing not to express themselves, the things that they're reading, the clothes and the colors that they're wearing, All of these things have an impact. So number 6, the number 16 or the number 7 really have to do a good job of lightening up. Light colors, light music. They have to really, really stay on the light side because they deal so much in a 24-hour basis on the internal. I don't want to say negative, but on the internal and dealing with the internal self. And that could be very, very challenging. Some of that, of course, is coming forth from past experiences. Let's put it that way. And many of those past experiences may not have been very joyful. So they have to go in and look at those things, deal with those things, shine the light and the mirror of truth on those things, not internalize what has happened, but realize it for the lesson that it was, and then move forward. That's the key. A lot of times we spiral down into self-destructive behavior because we don't know how to move on from the situations that we're in. And it continues to drag us further and further and further down until we get to the place where we can't really see a way out. So that's one of the things to be mindful when dealing with that number 16. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, answered my question very well. Thank you. Thanks. Salam. Love and life.
Amin. Thank you. Any other last questions or comments? No? If not, then I look forward to seeing everybody present on next week, because that's when we're going to begin to put this stuff that we've been learning into actual hands-on practice so that we can begin to see in living color exactly how all of this works and what it looks like for us on a personal level, starting on next week. And the following weeks after that, we'll be doing much of the same. So it'll be time to get busy, busy, busy. No more questions? If not, we're gonna get this closing door. And I'm gonna ask if Sister Asia can give us a dua for the evening, if she's available.
Salam, Sheikh. If you can hear me, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin arrahmanir rahim maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Kula uwala wahad Allahu samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. I ask God to please keep everyone safe in your travels. Ask that anyone that's on this call to receive all the blessings that that has come forth. Also tomorrow, please, I pray that everyone everyone participate in a fast if you can, and if you can't, many blessings to you as well. I pray and just say thank you to all the ancestors. Thank you for Sheikh Sufi Ba. I thank you for Sheikh Idris for having this class, and I just everyone just be careful, and I mean you caught me off guard. Astaghfirullah.
You were right on point. You were right on point. Thank you for that. That covers us. That covers us well. Thank everyone for being present. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your devotion to the mastery of this process. And I look forward to seeing you again on next Wednesday. Of course, see you again on Sunday for Sheikh Sufi Baz class. And Saturday, there is a Quran class and a sisters class and all of the above. So definitely continue to stay active and connected with the Darrah so that we can continue to grow and build and move together in this path of Tasawwuf. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Alaikum salam, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam. More love, more light.
Wa alaikum salam.